Everyone, welcome back to the channel and a special episode that we'll be doing. I'm just going to get right out there, rip off the band-aid. I'm not going to react to the Scrappy-Doo era on the channel. The only one I'm going to react to is 13 Ghosts. I've been watching them here and there throughout as we've been reacting to other stuff, which is why I've been a bit slow on things and just didn't care for it. It's what I expected. That's why I did it myself just a little bit. And what we did is I basically wrote a script, rated some episodes here and there because I was skipping through a lot of it, and I'm going to do one big video on it on the Scrappy-Doo era just because I didn't really care for it. Maybe I'll react to it later down the line whenever we run out of Scooby-Doo content, but for now, we're not going to bother. And that's why I just skipped around doing a lot of stuff. It's just one of those things where I just didn't really care for it, you know? We're diving into all 6 seasons that he appears in. The only one that I'm going to do is 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo will be by itself because that's attached to the movie, even though I've heard the movie's pretty garbage, but 13 Ghosts seems like the best bet to filter, get some Scrappy, but just kind of go out with a bang on that front. And then, yeah, I know some of you will be disappointed, but I just didn't care for it, really, of why I've been looking at it. So in this one, we'll cover some highs, some lows, and some pretty cringe-worthy times, you know. Yeah, and then that's just my script that I wrote for myself. And so I just basically gave myself my favorite episode will be playing while I just talk about it. It will be muted, just so it just some visually, so it's not just talky. We're gonna go join up. So the first season of Scrappy-Doo was 16 episodes, and it's the first iteration, the only season of the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo show for this side, and it goes through the 100th episode. And I rated pretty much all of them 2s and 3s out of 10, except the one that we'll be playing is 20,000 Screams Under the Sea, which I rated a 6 out of 10. Yeah, so that one will keep playing, and as we go through, we will watch basically all that. So this one I rated a 6 out of 10 because it was just had some fun moments, but let's just go by episode. So the first season, so in 1979, Scrappy-Doo made his first appearance on the show. At the time, the franchise was struggling in ratings, so Scrappy was introduced to shake things up. And then, contrary to Shaggy and Scooby, he dives headfirst into issues, and he's a bit obnoxious kind of thing. But one of the things also that really was frustrating is that whenever there's something happening or a reaction shot, he basically became the main character. So Scooby was benched in his own show. So here's some of my likes and dislikes from Scarab Lives, which I rated a 3 out of 10. The blue scarab is pretty unique, and the concept of a comic book hero coming to life is fun. One of the things I disliked the most was that Scrappy is just so frustrating, man. I really didn't like him in these kinds of episodes. It just makes it go flat. No matter what happens, it's basically like he's a live audience where, yeah, like this right here, where he has to react to something. Episode 2, The Night Goal of Wonderland. So this one I rated a 3 out of 10. I like the high-tech mystery, how it shines on. That's not just a nod to classic detective tales. And then I just liked Scrappy's overall aggressive kind of style. I just feel like it doesn't really flow with the gang very much, of just kind of, let's go fight him. The puppy power like he's doing right now, that kind of thing. And then episode 3, Strange Encounters of Scooby-Kind, we also rated a 3 out of 10. So this is a fun departure with an alien theme that makes it pretty fun compared to typical ghostly villains. And it also added an element of sci-fi that's not really seen in Scooby-Doo very often until like What's New Scooby-Doo and those kinds of eras. But it's also very predictable. Scrappy fighting the alien feels very out of place. Just kind of eh. So the dislikes are all going to be pretty similar. So I'll probably just go over the likes just to make it more positive. Episode 4, The Neon Phantom of the Roller Disco, which was released on October 13th, 1979. I rated this one a 2 out of 10. Probably one of my least favorite episodes of this entire era. Going back to the 70s, because they're technically 70s characters still, which is pretty fun. And then episode 5, Shiver and Shake, That Demon's a Snake, October 20th, 1979. We rated a 3 out of 10. Nice spooky setting in this one, and it's a little bit of a darker tone. And then there's a genuine mystery feel to the episode, which I thought was really cool. And then episode 6, The Scary Sky Skeleton, released on October 27th, 1979. The concept of the flying skeleton is actually pretty cool, but Scrappy's interjections again became an issue. And then episode 7, The Demon of the Dugout, released on November 3rd, 1979. We rated a 3 out of 10. I love the Japanese setting because it's one of my favorite kind of cultures. And the baseball theme adds a new twist to the Scooby-Doo format. The villain is poorly designed and lacks intimidation. Scrappy, again, presence is just a bit making it a bit frustrating. Then episode 8, The Hairy Scene of the Devil Bear, released on November 10th, 1979, which we rated a 3 out of 10. So the bear villain in the forest make it a bit spooky, and I enjoyed that front of it, and it gives it a classic Scooby-Doo feel. Episode 9, 10,000 Screams Under the Sea, which we released on November 17th, 1979. The underwater theme is a great change of pace, and the sea monster villain is pretty cool, which is why I liked it, which is why I rated it a 6 out of 10. And then number 10, I Left My Neck in San Francisco, released on November 24th, 1979. We rated this one a 3 out of 10. The San Francisco setting is pretty cool. It's been a while since we've kind of been to like a stateside kind of area, even though we've had tons of episodes of that. But the villain's a bit weak and just not very fun of a character comparatively. Then episode 11, we have When You Wish Upon a Star Creature, released on December 1st, 1979, which we rated a 3 out of 10. Another sci-fi theme and a pretty cool creature design. The story's a little bit all over the place, which I didn't really care for. Episode 12, The Ghoul, the Bat, and the Ugly, which we released on December 8th, 1979. We rated a 3 out of 10. I love the haunted theater setting, and the villain's pretty memorable. And then episode 13, Rocky Mountain Yee, released on December 15th, 1979, which we rated a 3 out of 10. It gives it a nice suspenseful kind of style, and then has a few nice spooky moments that are similar to the original series. The villain lacks real impact, and Scrappy again constantly fighting with it and just kind of just ruining the dynamic. All right, and then episode 14, The Sorcerer's Minister, released on December 22nd, 1979. So another haunted kind of settling that pretty cool dynamic with the show. Scrappy's behavior just kind of all over the place for like an eerie tone that the show's going for. And then Unlock the Door to Minotaur, episode 15, which was released on December 29th, 1979, which we rated a 3 out of 10. So the Minotaur and the mace theme is actually a really cool design. It's similar, harkens back to like the old Greek story, which I really enjoyed. And then episode 16, the last episode of the first season, The Ransom of Scooby Chief, released on January 5th, 1980, our first episode in 1980, which we rated a 2 out of 10, probably our least favorite episode. Some classic chase sequences in this episode for some likes, and a few humorous interactions, but the villain is weak, plot, and again, Scrappy. And then just an overall kind of overview. So Scrappy being aggressive and his overall attitude was meant to keep things fresh, but it really made the episodes feel just very stagnated and kind of a parody of itself with how he's reacting and how he just does things. It just takes away from that classic Scooby-Doo feel, you know? The villains were often underwhelming and just pretty low stakes in general compared to some of the classic Scooby-Doo villains, like the Creeper just being the most violent episode. Fun fact is that the Scrappy was originally created to attract a younger audience. The controversy with him is that it worked for some fans, but also alienated a lot of viewers who missed the darker kind of style of Scooby-Doo. And as this episode completes, we will go on to season 2. This is also the first one that drops Fred, Velma, and Daphne from the show. It's seasons 2 to 4 of the Scrappy-Doo era, and it's the second series released from 1980 to 1982. You know, it's now a 7-minute format. You know, first time, as you can see, real aliens in the show. This is my favorite episode, which was, the invasion of the Scooby Snatchers, and then the real aliens are Close Encounter with a Strange Kind, but this is my favorite set of 3 episodes, was the finale. Starting us off in episode 1, A Close Encounter with a Strange Kind / A Fit Night Out for Bats, and then The Chinese Food Factory, which we rated a 2 out of 10. This trio is a bit fun on certain episodes. It adds a unique twist by having real aliens, but it's also a bit simplistic. You know, like The Chinese Food Factory, it's just stereotypical and uninspired. Close Encounters with Strange Kind has some fun sci-fi moments, but doesn't fully commit to it and just kind of falls pretty flat. Then episode 2, Scooby's Dessert Dilemma, The Old Cat and Mouse Game, and Stowaways Anyways, rated a 3 out of 10. And so it introduced an interesting desert setting, just falls flat with just kind of nothing happening, really. Then episode 3, Mummy's the Word, Hang in There Scooby, Stuntman Scooby, which we rated a 2 out of 10. Mummy's the Word has a cool setting, and it gives the gang the chance to face a classic monster trope, which is a mummy. The episode doesn't capitalize on the mummy, and the scares feel watered down compared to the previous Scooby-Doo episodes of like creepiness, like the Creeper. They're just so much weirder on this series. Then episode 4, Scooby's Three Dingling Circus, Scooby's Fantastic Island, Long John Scrappy, which we rated a 2 out of 10. Fantastic Island is pretty unique and it has a lot of colorful characters. And then Long John Scrappy was the best of the 3 with some entertaining pirate themed visuals. So that one was pretty fun, but again, just 7 minutes long. It just feels like nothing really goes. Very, very quick and very insane. And then some dislikes. Pretty weak scare line with some recycled gags. All right, and then continuing on with episode 5, which Scooby's Bullfight, Scooby Goes West, and A Bungle in the Jungle. It had a fun Western setting for Goes West and giving the episode a nostalgic feel. It's predictable, and the villains are not very memorable either. Then episode 6, Scooby's Fun Zone, Swap Witch, Sir Scooby, and the Black Knight. So the medieval setting, I love medieval setting, so that one was pretty fun. And then the Swamp Witch has pretty cool atmosphere to the actual series of it, but the episodes felt very hollow, just weak plot lines. And Scooby's Fun Zone I especially didn't like, so it's kind of like one of them's kind of medium, one of them's pretty good, and one of them is really eh. Then episode 7, Wax World, Scooby and Wonderland, Scrappy's Birthday, which were related 2 out of 10. So the Haunted Wax Museum is another fun one. It kind of harkens back to some wax museum stuff we've seen before, and like Where Are You in the Scooby-Doo show, which was pretty interesting. In Scooby and Wonderland, it was so random and just all over the place. Just didn't really have very much Scooby-Doo formula into it. And then episode 8, South Sea Scare, Scooby's Swiss Miss, Alaskan King Coward. So I love the exotic kind of settings that they went for, especially in the South Sea Scare and Alaskan King Coward. So it was cool backdrops. Then episode 9, E2 Scooby, Soggy Bog Scooby, and Scooby Gumbo. So triple Scooby titles on this one. And then Scooby Gumbo, really fun Louisiana flair, especially since I grew up in the South, so that one was pretty fun as well. It's hard to stay invested in. Like, I like whenever Scooby and the gang do like a good middle ground of slapstick and also the mystery part of things. Like one of my favorite episodes, Disc Demon from the Scooby-Doo show had a good ratio of that. That really makes you laugh, but not a crazy amount. Also, one of the things I don't like is that there's no real unmasking. Just like, that's the villain, so you got to capture him, that kind of thing. And then episode 10, Way Out Scooby, Strongman Scooby, Moonlight Madness, which we rated 2 out of 10. So I love the space theme. That's funny that there's 2 mystery machines that are called the Master Movers. That's funny. All right, and this is the last episode of this season finale. Just very short, very nothing, where there's no like fun unmasking or anything like that. Just completely just like they ruin the dynamic of the entire show. Scrappy just overshadows everybody, which is annoying. And then episode 11, which again a 2 out of 10. Dog Tired Scooby, Scooby at the Center of the World, Scooby's Trip to Oz. And then it's imaginative with Oz, and it's pretty fun. Like, it plays around with the usual concept, but it just another one where it has some fun concepts, but it's just overly simplistic and lacks a lot of charm and just kind of very forgettable because there's no true mystery to it. Just kind of like, here's the bad guy, let's do this thing. That's kind of one of my main. Then episode 12, Fright at the Opera, Robot Ranch, Surprise Spies, which we rated a 2.5 out of 10. So it has an entertaining setting, and the concept of a haunted opera has potential. And then Robot Ranch has some interesting gadgets. Kind of reminds me of the What's New Scooby-Doo episode, which is pretty fun. And then episode 13, The Invasion of the Scooby Snatchers, Scooby-Doo Guru, Scooby-Doo and the Bandit. So Invasion of the Scooby Snatchers is a bit interesting, but also a bit where it has kind of a creepy setting, but another one where it's real aliens and stuff. And then Scooby-Doo Guru is kind of funny, but the ending is a bit lackluster. And for this episode, the one we're watching currently, it's like Scrappy's the bad guy in this one because he's the one that shoved a pie in a dude's face. It was unnecessary. Just kind of starting up its own kind of evilness and just, mean-spirited, I guess you could say, compared to some of the other previous episodes. But I still enjoyed the some stuff here and there, which is why I rated a 3 out of 10. Everything else was pretty much a 2 out of 10. Yeah, this era was all about just fast-paced slapstick and just no fun villain interactions because, hey, we're either going to be a jerk or Scrappy's going to be a jerk and we're going to get chased by something, so let's run for him and then we'll finally resolve ourselves after 7 minutes. Not really my thing, really. That's kind of what it goes for. This also, finishing it off, gets me into the second season of Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo and the third season overall, the Scrappy era. So this one was a shortened 7 episodes that try to continue the short episode format. Still the same issues as the previous season. And in fact, I disliked it even more. So these are going to be like 1s and 2s. And it leaned even harder into simplistic humor. Like I was saying, it needs a good middle ground because Scooby-Doo is funny a lot of times. It just needs to blend it better, of having like those real characters like Velma Daphne playing off Shaggy and Scooby and not just having Scrappy as like basically all 3 of the Velma, Daphne, and Fred mixed together. Just felt a bit basic, especially since they're not unmasking anything. So what's the point of Scrappy even being there to do all those things? He just kind of punches people, gets into trouble, and then makes them run away from stuff for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes because of the intro and outro. As we finish off this episode, we're slowly going to make our way through season 3 as 2 seasons into the Scrappy-Doo era. All right, we are back with the last iteration of the Scrappy-Doo era before we react to 13 Ghosts, which will be next week. So in this one, it's the new Scooby-Doo mysteries. So the gang reappears, Daphne and Velma. So this is my favorite episode of this season, which we rated a 6 out of 10. It's the Halloween hassle at Dracula's castle, and in this one, it's another two-parter for the series. Were two 11-minute episodes, and this is also the episode where it's the last time that the gang all appears together until 1988 in a pup named Scooby-Doo. So that's a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. But it's also my most favorite of the Scrappy-Doo era, which I rated a 3.62 on average. So the first episode we rated a 5 out of 10, which was released on September 8th, 1984, and it goes all the way until December 1st, 1984. The second episode we rated a 2, 3, a 3, 4 a 3, 5 a 2, 6 a 2, 6 a 5, 7 a 3, 8 a 6, 9 a 4, 10 a 2, 11 a 5, 12 a 3, and a 13 a 4. Fred and Velma appearing once again. Yep. Some fun moments in this episode where, like I was saying, just a bit of the settings are a little bit more fun, and I feel like they went a bit more creepy styles. It just still had like the random villainy as well, where it's just kind of like not really villains, just kind of being chased around by a few guys, and then the episode ends kind of thing. Just a bit basic on that front. You know, Haunted Castle, a bunch of different villains from the series itself just reappear in this episode of just kind of like not the same kind of villains, but similar style, like Dracula and sea monsters and that kind of thing. And then, you know, Fred and Velma's cameo, of course, was just really fun. But at that point, they're just basically a cameo. But I really like that they appeared. It made it really interesting. In the Scooby-Doo mysteries, it was arguably the best of the Scrappy-Doo era. I haven't watched, you know, the 13 Ghosts yet, but we'll see how that goes. And then the occasional return of Fred and Velma definitely made some much needed kind of into the episode, which was nice. Daphne was more of a breath of fresh air into the series, made her grounded. And then I liked whenever she had a good mix up between the comedy and the actions with the gang was really fun. And it had some classic Scooby-Doo moments into the entire series itself. The new Scooby-Doo movies I really didn't like because they're 45 minutes, and these ones are 11 minutes. It's better than the 7-minute kind of style, but 11 minutes is still a bit kind of... Some episodes that stood out, like Happy Birthday Scooby-Doo and Halloween Hassle at Dracula's Castle, were a bit fun, but just uneven pacing kind of just ruined the dynamics of it for me. But it still had some cool stuff, especially with the limitations. So the first season had full-length episodes and tried to keep some of the original Scooby-Doo formatting, but just really fell flat and just really didn't care for it. That's why we rated it on average, a 2.5. Season 1, second iteration, so technically Season 2 of the Scrappy-Doo era, which we rated on average a 2.23 out of 10. Second iteration, Season 2, on average a 2.29. Second iteration, Season 3, we rated a 1.77, which was our least favorite of the entire thing. And then the new Scrappy-Doo and Scooby-Doo show, which we rated a 3.38 out of 10. And the new Scooby-Doo Mysteries, we rated a 3.62, so kind of more of a return to form after introducing Daphne. Lifted up the show to new heights on that front, but still pretty basic and boring. And then to wrap it up, Scrappy-Doo for me is just really a mixed bag of a franchise and of a season. Scrappy's really just a petulant kind of annoying guy, you know. He had not really for me any fun. I only had more fun when Daphne was introduced and basically just like, hey, don't do that, Scrappy. It's kind of like just basically just being a good old-fashioned just babysitter. That's not really anything else they could really do with Scrappy of like, you know, Shaggy or Scooby grab his tail, make him not go after stuff, and just a bit, you know. I know people are, you know, have hit or miss with Scrappy of like, some people love him, some people hate him, other people are just kind of oblivious towards him. I'm more on the hate spectrum. The only time I've really seen him whenever I was growing up was in the Scooby-Doo movie because he had a appearance in there, as you know. So there's not really any kind of where he made me laugh before. It just reminds me just like a, you know, a 3-year-old kid. I think he's supposed to be like a super young puppy as well. Essentially just a 3-year-old kid that's just a bit annoying, you know. That's why not really my kind of style. I like where like the gang interactions, like, you know, we have the smart one, we have Shaggy and Scooby, the kind of cowards but also get stuff done, Daphne, the fighting news reporter, kind of cool one, and then Fred, the trap maker, and the kind of everybody's pretty cool, everybody has their kind of role, but Scrappy just kind of taking all 3 roles, got everybody kicked out, and once everybody came back, he got kicked out. We had some fun moments in this series overall. I'm not going to say we didn't hate all of it, but there was definitely a lot of it that was disliked pretty strongly. And that's everything that I have to say about this era. Just wanted to do a video for it because I didn't want to react to all of it for the next year and a half, you know, and just kind of, I would have gone crazy. Similar to what we experienced with the new Scooby-Doo movies, I knew this one was a bit of a controversy, so I watched like the first 3 episodes of the Scrappy-Doo first iteration, and I knew it was not going to be my thing. So we're technically still reacting to the full Scooby-Doo series, but we're going to essentially fast forward through this like 40-minute episode kind of thing, just to get over it and keep moving forward strong, hopefully. And we'll see how 13 Ghosts is, because we're still reacting to a full Scrappy-Doo era season on the channel. And that'll be the 13 Ghosts, because the movie that came out recently. I will see you guys next week for that, in our final season with Scrappy. It's the end of an era, and fingers crossed we enjoy it. And I've heard good things about this season, but bad things about the movie, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'm flipping flopped. So I'll see you guys next week, as we slowly also start implementing movies as well. After 13 Ghosts, the series, we will now be reacting to a movie pretty much every 2 weeks. So really picking up speed on the Scooby-Doo franchise as we move forward and start reacting to some more of it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It's probably a bit boring, but I just wanted to go through it just to show you guys why I wasn't reacting to the Scrappy-Doo era in full. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next week for the start of 13 Ghosts. Have a great day.